beginning of the 18th century precisely to date. Now, we had the pre-industrial times. In the pre-industrial times, most of the things are done manually, and they involve biological strength. Trekking was very, 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 or the sole means of transportation and movement of humans from one place to another, and then the use of animals and donkeys and things like that. Then the industrial age came. That started between the 18th century down to the 20th century. It started with the development of the steam engine, which was using steam to power locomotives, and then transportation was greatly revolutionized, and people and goods were able to move easier and then at a larger scale. Then suddenly the development of the combustion engine. The combustion engine was also a revolution. It increased mobility in the world, it increased mechanization, and then it increased life expectancy as well. Then came the information age. That was when the personal computers were developed. When the personal computers were developed, they were a revolution. I could remember those days when you could store things in, those circular disks, and then they were considered the cutting edge of that time. The internet age came, and then the internet age, basically what it did was to make all these different computers and different parts of the world communicate with each other, so that in real time you can share information between 2 computers, 3 computers, and 1,000 computers or 1 million computers around the world. Now we came into the networking age. That was when the proliferation of social media, and above all, and most importantly, the invention and then the widespread application of mobile phone technology. Now, this one should not be underrated. Like I have said often and often and often, if you don't have, and if you are educated like a pharmacist is, and you don't have access to an Android or an iOS device, then you are non-clinically in coma. If you have access to one of these devices and you are not in any of the social media platforms, then you are clinically dead. If you are in one of the social media platforms, or 2 or 3, but you do not appreciate the power and potential of artificial intelligence, then you have been finally buried. So this is, in a way, for us to appreciate the impact this thing has had. Then we have the big data and artificial intelligence age, where machines are taught how to act like humans, and they predict. And now we have predictive data analysis and large data, and then an entire industry became extinct, and then other industries are emerging, and then the ones that survive the change are changing their roles and things like that. You can remember photography was an entire industry, for example. We had Kodak of that time. If it was not a Kodak, if you want to go for a wedding, you have to go to a photographic studio, and then you take a picture, and then you send that picture in hard copy, and then you laminate it and hang it in the cinema. All these things have been overtaken by circumstances of the last 20 years due to the evolution of technology that has changed the roles of an entire profession, or deleted some professions completely, and then introduced an entirely new professions that are overtaking the demands, or that are satisfying the demands of human society. Now, you see, all we are talking about, the novel non-healthcare roles being assumed by pharmacy is a metabolite of those changes. Without those changes and the rate at which they occurred in the last 20 years, especially these three changes are the catalyst that have forced all other professions, not just pharmacy, to excavate for new roles. The first is the invention of the mobile phone technology and its widespread usage. The second is the Hello. Maybe somebody should unmute his microphone. Maybe somebody should mute his microphone. Sorry. There is an interference. Somebody should mute his microphone.
Yes, Habib, the mic.
So what we are saying, and let me repeat myself, was that in the last 24 years or so, the evolution of three types of technologies has forced not only pharmacy profession but other professions as well to look at their roles and then redefine those roles if only they don't go extinct. Uh, the first is the invention and widespread use of mobile technology that has eliminated completely, for example, the photographic and navigation industry. You don't have to now need a compass or something to go from one place to the other. You don't need to go to photographic studio and things like that. And then the second was the widespread use of social media. It redefines how people communicate. It redefines how people now network. It redefines how communities now get together. So it has eliminated the Majalisa in Hausa. It has eliminated, for example, the town unions in Igbo lands because a WhatsApp group will solve all these problems. Now the third, and the one that is extant and current, is the big data and artificial intelligence age. So these three technologies that have occurred in the last 20 years, which is just 10% of the 224 years of technological advancement from the Industrial Revolution down to now, has been what prompted the redefinition of roles for pharmacists and the need to excavate and further look at or mine, in the words of cryptocurrency specialists, or mine some other professional roles. Now, the next slide now. Uh, the purpose of this slide, the employment status of pharmacists and the distribution of traditional career numbers, numbers of pharmacists in the traditional career options. This data was obtained in 2018. So I tried to obtain a recent data from the Department of Planning, Research and Statistics of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that. But then I said 2018, well, isn't that long? But then it's long. Uh, if you look at it, majority of the pharmacies are in community practice, uh, then followed by hospital, then administrative, then industrial, then academic is the least. Then we have pharmacies that are unemployed. The percentage unemployment amongst Nigeria's pharmacists in the six geopolitical zones runs from 10 down to about 4%, which is excellent. The average unemployment among graduates in Nigeria is 58.9%. So if pharmacists are having an unemployment figure of 10 to 4%, then it means it is not unemployment that should drive pharmacists to excavate for new roles. No, it is the requirements of the world that the pharmacy profession is trying to meet. That is now the driving force and motivation for us to make this kind of presentation beforehand, before profession becomes the photography or become a museum article. So still on the employment status of pharmacists, in fact, between the years 2016, 2017, and 2018, we see a dwindling in the numbers of unemployed pharmacists, ranging from 22% in 2016 now to 21% in 2017, and dramatically it's fall down to 9% in 2018. What that meant was that pharmacy, at least between those periods, was a prosperous profession. Whether those pharmacists were underemployed is not the question. The question is that they were employed. So what then was the motivation for us now to look for new career paths for pharmacists? It is because the world is changing rapidly, like I have said, and then the requirements of the world is changing. And if you look at all the four areas of pharmacy, be it industrial pharmacy, be it community pharmacy, be it hospital pharmacy, be it academic pharmacy, all of them are facing cataclysmic changes that are threatening their very existence. Now, if you look at academic pharmacy, the presence of artificial intelligence that make it possible to humanize data and access the information in large volumes and make it as though it was a human that is delivering a lecture has meant that sometimes we are going to see robots delivering lectures. Now, if you look at community pharmacy, we have robotic dispensers. I have seen pictures of robotics dispensing medicines with great precision, greater than humans. If you look at industrial pharmacy has been a profession, sub-profession where course, robots have taken over. There has been a story of robots carrying out an entire production of sterile pharmaceutical line better than humans with less contamination potential. And if you look at hospital and administrative pharmacy, naturally that one was long given up to technology. So this is a repeat of the figures for some of us that have visual impairment issues. We can look at them. The unemployment range from 10 down to 9 to 8 to 8 again, 7 to 6 in the different geopolitical zones. That was when we had a figure of pharmacists ranging from 14 to 15,000 in our register. So again, I can't say it enough. It is not unemployment then that is the driving factor for us to look or excavate at other roles for pharmacists. What is the driving factor? Is the demands of the modern world. The demand of the modern world is not a pharmacist that is telling you to take paracetamol 2-3 times daily. No, the demands of the modern world is different, as we are going to see in the upcoming slides. Now, exploring new career frontiers. Let us start with digital careers. You see, understanding any opportunity in the digital world requires you to first step into learning the basics of the digital world. Luckily enough, Google EMEA, that's Google Europe, Middle East, and Asian division, has a curated course it calls Google Digital Skills for Africa, and then I have given a link to that course. You can do it free, and then it will give you a pitch deck presentation of the digital world, and then an introduction to the digital environment and basic digital literacy that will arm you to explore careers in the digital world. I call that one a free resource from Google. They issue a certificate in completion, and then just that it has to be after an examination. There are usually 140 questions, of which you have to pass 80% before they can give you a certificate. Now, there are paid resources as well on the media, on the social media, on the internet. One of which is Udemy. I have shown it here. The other one is Coursera. I have also highlighted it here. So the steps I advise is that first identify your passion, then visit any of the above sites, choose from an array of courses and instructors based on rating, number of people in class, and plot threads or reviews posted about your choosing courses by students that have attended or are attending that class at that moment. There's renewable energy, especially solar energy. So I enrolled in a Coursera course on September 10th, 2023. And then it was a Udemy course. It is titled Solar Energy from Zero to Hero. The dollar was not on alcohol at that time. So I paid 4,600 Naira. I'm still on it. So this is because my passion is renewable energy, alternative sources of energy, even before the distribution companies and the banding of A, B, C, D, E, F came in. I had interest in that, so I'm still undergoing that course. So, but what is the criteria for you to choose the course that will suit your passion? The first criteria is that normally when you carry out a search, you use the search engines of these online platforms, Coursera or Udemy, you will find an array of courses, maybe 20 options. Now you look at the number of people that were currently in class at that time. If there are 30,000 in class, which was the number of people that were in class when I was trying to learn solar, there were 30,000 in class, and it was run by an academician called Engineer Mehdi. So 30,000 people cannot be wrong. They must have had their reasons for joining and remaining in the course. So first, the number of people in class. Second, you look at the threads, what the reviews are, what the comments are from people that have either attended the course or are still attending the course, what their recommendations are. So if the recommendations are largely positive, and then they make it in the form of a star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 5-star. So if it is a 4.9 star, you know that it is a course that has a good delivery, and it will teach you the physical and nitty-gritties of the and technical know-how to develop a career in that area. So that is it. And then just about what I was saying, Google, Europe, Middle East, and Asia, they have a curated course they call Google Digital Skills for Africa. For all my sins, I was able to attend that course. And by sheer luck, I was able to pass the examinations, and then I was issued a certificate. If you look at the left-hand side of the slide, you could see it. Then I have also, like I told you, registered for a renewable energy course, specifically a solar energy course. This is the link to it, from zero to hero, and then largely based on the fact that there were 30,000 students in class at any time, including at various times, and then I registered for it. So exploring new career frontiers, digital careers, with a good, we started with the fact that you first of all have to have a good level of digital competence for you to choose a digital career. Now, with a good grounding on digital competence, a number of novel career options emerge. Number one, telepharmacy. The days have long gone by where patients that are requiring over-the-counter medicines will have to go to the pharmacy physically and be seen, and then they buy simply medicines that, when you calculate the cost of the medicines and the cost of transportation to the pharmacy, you find out that the cost of transportation to the pharmacy is even more. So it is better when you have a non-contact basis, where a non-contact platform where you can now dispense drugs to people who need them without you having to now have physical contact with the patients. So telepharmacy, where delivery of pharmaceutical services occur without patient contact. There has been a 35% increase in the adoption of telepharmacy in Nigeria since the COVID-19 pandemic, largely because people were domesticated at home, and then out of necessity, the only option they had was the digital access to medicines, the few medicines that were available then. We now have entirely new pharmaceutical companies based on telepharmacy. There's this company called Drugstop based in Lagos. There is Drugstore based in Lagos. There's Medical Arteries in Kano, a lot of other companies like that. So this study that indicated that 35% increase in the adoption of telepharmacy in Nigeria since the COVID-19 pandemic was published at the Nigerian Journal of Pharmacy. Maybe in due course I will give you the reference at the Nigerian Journal of Pharmacy. So drop shipping in health commodities. The third part, what is drop shipping in the first place? Drop shipping is a situation where the person that displays goods online is actually neither the manufacturer nor the wholesaler. What he does is all people that indicates interest to buy or to purchase such items, his role is to link them up with the manufacturer or the wholesaler of that item. So a third-party digital platform for showcasing pharmaceutical and health commodities, where a company with no warehouse, wholesales, or manufacturing capacity collect commodities from a wide range of wholesalers and showcases them on a digital platform. This is the pharmacy equivalent of AliExpress, Amazon, and things like that. The Nigerian equivalents of those ones are Konga, Gigi, and all this one. Now, it is possible for a pharmacy to develop a platform where you have all the medicines that Emzo makes, all the medicines that Novartis make, all the medicines that all those local pharmaceutical industries make, and then you showcase them on your platform, and then on request, you now simply link up the person with the manufacturer or the medical representative, as the case may be. This is an entire profession, and in fact, it is more lucrative than having to move around like a medical representative in a car. And it has so many advantages in the sense that you don't have to have a physical space for storing those medicines, because your only space is your own digital device. And then you don't have to bother about expiries because you are not the custodian of the store. You don't have to bother about such things as overstocking, understocking, and then stock management issues. You don't have to bother about that one. The only issue is that we have a terrible logistics system in Nigeria. So having to operate that kind of drop shipping company requires liability, especially when we come to medicine, where it will be a matter of emergency and a matter between life and death. So delays could be dangerous. So if you now have to open a drop shipping company that showcases medicines, because the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria has actually approved online display of medicines, provided they are registered. So if you have to now operate that kind of company, you have to sit down with all lawyers and be ready for litigations in the case that the Nigeria logistics system fails you, or you can include a caveat that once the Nigeria logistics system fails, you are not going to be liable for, or your company is not going to be liable for that, because these are things you could not actually change. Then still on exploring new frontiers, we have online pharmacies. Like I told you, the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, even when it was the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria, has approved the formation of online pharmacies. Well, not all laws, the day should not come when all of us are going to be happy about every law. There are areas of the law that I'm not too comfortable with, such as anybody wishing to operate an online pharmacy has to have a physical pharmacy as a requirement. I'm not too comfortable with that, because that has undone all the actions and intentions of the online pharmacy option. The online pharmacy option is for us to decongest the request for emergency medicines. When people request for OTC medicine, they really don't have to come physically to the pharmacy. But if we now insist that that person also has to have a physical pharmacy, I don't know. But only God knows what the thinking of the Pharmacy Council is. So it's too early for us to now say that they are wrong. The approval by the Nigerian Pharmacy Practice Regulator of online pharmacies has opened a whole new career options for pharmacists with digital competence. There are other potential digital career options for pharmacists, such as pharmacists in artificial intelligence. An artificial intelligence option as a career is a prospective one. For now, you will agree with me that artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, these are evolving areas in the technological field. But as they evolve, we are seeing a situation where accessibility to data, such as side effects, accessibility to doses. The last meeting I attended was a departmental meeting, and then there was this store officer, pharmacist Aminu, who was complaining of Haloten had just escaped without anything. All I needed to do was just check my AI platform whether Haloten could permeate a bottle and evaporate, and then within seconds it gave me the answer. So you could see that the potential for artificial intelligence on pharmacy practice is that, unlike before, where you now have to go through the pages of Martindale or BNF, or the patient has to wait for you to go to the BP, the BPC. No, you now have large volumes of information, probably in multiples of what those could store within your reach. And if you are going to operate a company that only deals in drug information, doctors alone, or to other members of the health aid, this is a potential practice area. Then digital careers still, content creation. This involves generating information, either written, visual, audiovisual, etc., for use on media platforms. In this context, I will have to single out pharmacist Musa Bello. I think he has been an advocate of content creation. He has a handle on Facebook that actually is involved in health advocacy, and then generating and helping information for patients. And then not all of us know that all the social media platforms can be monetized, in the sense that if you have a certain number of followership and a certain number of hours of exposure and interaction by those followership, those social media platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, and others will pay you. So Musa Bello had started receiving payments for his own health advocacy, which is very excellent. You could visit his handle on Facebook and then see what health information he's rendering. The astronomical rise in the popularity and audience of the social media has meant that content creation is now a lucrative standalone career. Yes, it is. Because even in this office, when I left, where I will conveniently ensure 100% electricity and then non-disruption of internet services, I only thought of the office of a content creator who incidentally was my daughter. So I borrowed her office and then used it. So you could see that it has a large potential if others are not they are delivering non-essential services, could become content creators and people patronize those information they give. And then we pharmacists that are running life-saving informations that could actually save people. And then there are other gaps in information, like gaps in family planning services, gaps in misinformation regarding maybe retroviral diseases, gaps in information regarding fertility and things like that. So these are all potential areas where one could create a social media platform with content creation and educate public, and then you get compensated in two ways. Number one, your followership are going to patronize whatever physical product you are going to display. And then the second one is that the social media platform itself is going to compensate you after a certain threshold of persons have been reached. Now, that's all about digital career options. We have careers in renewable energy. Before I delve into careers in renewable energy, let me give us the statistics. You see, we have the world is facing an energy crisis. Uh, we have to live in harmony with our environment in the sense that global warming is causing a lot of issues like climate migrants, like flooding, like a lot of other havocs. In fact, we now have a situation where climate change is threatening the very existence of the world itself due to emission of greenhouse gases and things like that. So the burning of these fossil fuels, when I mean fossil fuels, I mean coal, I mean oil, I mean gas, the burning of those to create electricity and the energy demands of the world is actually something that is ethically wrong. And then the statistics, for example, has shown that still the world is dependent at 3% on those fossil fuels. It is dependent on wind energy, I think 35%, and then it is dependent on coal as well to some extent. So if there is this energy gap that one has to create, that the world has created for it to survive, is an existential issue for the world. If there is this energy gap, the world is in now. It's an Like I said, it's an existential thing. It is something that is threatening the very existence of the world. So if pharmacists could leverage on the scientific knowledge they have, they could actually become professionals in renewable energy. I should say that one of the early and biggest solar companies in Nigeria is Rubitech. Rubitech is owned by a pharmacist who was actually a rep, and he was sent by his company to actually look for an alternative energy due to the high cost of diesel. And then in the process in Lagos, he encountered people that were merchants in solar energy, and then they convinced him. What is happening now is that there is Rubitech as a solar company, and there is Rubitech Solar Academy in Lagos. So you can see how pharmacists can transmute into other professions. So let me read the slide. The global energy crisis and its relationship with the climate has meant that pharmacists and every profession has a stake. The strong scientific background of pharmacy makes it possible to learn the scientific basis before renewable energy technologies. We have a vantage position in the sense that because of the drilling we had in pharmacy school of physical sciences and other sciences, understanding things like silicon generating electricity down to lithium batteries, to things like that is very easy for pharmacists. So in entrepreneurship in solar and renewable energy is actually something that will be very, very rewarding and will also help the world. There are online resources for learning solar and other technologies. I have given a link here. Continuation. solar energy entrepreneurship for pharmacists will come in the form of one, actual sale of solar panels, inverters, and energy storage systems. Pharmacists will have a vantage position on this because to be a successful merchant of those commodities require deep knowledge of them and constant updating. You have a background knowledge of the fact that the sun can supply more than 600 to 900% of the total energy requirements of the world. It can satisfy the requirement of more than 900% of the energy requirements in the world. Now, having this background knowledge is not enough. One has to look at technologies that are latest, that are recent, that are applicable, that are doable, that are practicable and cost effective. The solar panels now that will harvest the energy. Currently, with the most efficient solar panels are at 21%, but this thing is a very dynamic issue. 3 months ago, we never reached 25%. We never reached 21%. We were at 19%. And then suddenly Jinki solar panels came in and then we rose to 21% and things like that. You have to update and then become intentional and deliberate in acquisition of knowledge regarding your choosing passion and your choosing potential entrepreneur option. You could visit sites like AliExpress and then other areas where solar materials are being retailed, and then you see latest advances, and then you see options and latest technologies. Like a year ago, when we wanted to install a solar in one household, it was a transformer inverter weighing up to almost 100 kg. When we wanted to install again this year, it has changed to a transformerless inverter that was just 5 kilograms, and then it did the same as the other one. So it is a rapidly developing area, a rewarding one for that matter, especially if you are staying in Nigeria now. You will know that this banding in my hospital has meant that every month we now have to pay 119 million. I think there's somebody from Bayero University who will give a similar story. So this is not sustainable. So pharmacists, especially academics, can create content on solar energy. That's the second option. Apart from retailing solar materials, our academicians can actually leverage on the fact that they are good at transfer of knowledge and then create content on solar energy installation and market on platforms like Udemy and Coursera. This is because when they learn those ones on Udemy and Coursera themselves, they have a vantage position of having an experience in the transfer of knowledge to people. So it will be easier for them than me, that is not an academician or a roadside person. It will be much easier for them. So this is the second career option in renewable energy. Apart from retail, you could also get yourself involved in the creation of content and then transmission of knowledge and training of personnel on solar installation. You really don't have to climb roofs. This is for our female listeners. You don't have to climb roofs and start installing solar panels. No, you can sit on a table and you can sit on your chair and still teach solar and be very rewarded. The course, I can't say it enough. The course I'm attending, is by Engineer Mehdi, and then there are 30,000 students, and each one of them at that time paid $5 to $6, depending on the discount coupon you have. So $5 to $6 times 30,000 is lucrative. Of course, the platform itself, Udemy, will have to charge him some percentage. One of the first solar companies, like I said, in Nigeria, that is Rubitech Limited, and Rubitech Solar Academy in Lagos were founded by pharmacists, medical representatives. So this shows to us that alternative career options that have no relationship with medicines is actually a possibility. There are other career options. There are a lot of other career options. Agriculture, well, the food security crisis is real, especially in developing economies. In Nigeria, especially with a very large population, and northern Nigeria facing insecurities, and then very poor purchasing power has meant that agriculture is an option that we can explore. Then animal husbandry. In the next 5 to 7 days, every household will have to slaughter a ram or a camel. So animal husbandry is naturally an option as a source of protein. You could learn all these trades on online learning platforms. Gone are the days when you have to go to the universities to learn something. And consultancy services. This is not new, it's a traditional career option. Then lastly, we have the provision of water. Anybody that has been staying in Kano knows that if the governor were to be asked one problem that bedevils his administration is the provision of water. Even the government house utilizes tankers now, so you could engage yourself in the provision of water by actually maybe sinking boreholes and then providing the energy necessary for the borehole for the water to be lifted up, and then you find a way of maybe packaging it either in the form of bottled water or something. These are options you could explore in conjunction with the National Agency for Food Drugs Administration and Control. Well, thank you for your time. Nagode. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you.